Okay, let's go for take 2. Welcome to the next herb by card. So guys, I'm sorry I haven't got these out as fast as I wanted to, but if you're using this to study herbalism, then it gives you a chance to mull things over, look things up, and come to your own conclusions and start working on something. And I think once we get through the major arcana, I'll give you some tips and stuff for studying herbalisms and how you can start building a materia medica. I'll give you some pointers on what to look for when studying. I'll go back and bring up some points that I've already talked about. So, and that announcement I was talking about is still kind of upcoming. It has nothing to do with tarot, but hopefully everything to do with tarot. Because at some point within probably the next 5 years, depending on life and death, I will be a traveling tarot reader. So stay tuned. I am taking my time before I really announce that. So there will be a whole new series on preparing for that adventure. All right, so without any further ado, as I tried in my first take, oops, upside down, we don't want that. We have BlackBerry for the devil. Let's see why she chose BlackBerry. Rubus americanus. I have some good stories about blackberries. Sweet berries, sharp brambles, beware. Let awareness awaken the power of choice. Break free of the desires that keep you trapped. If that wasn't an opinion, let me adjust. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm not going to edit this. An old cast iron pan lies on top of a rust-colored napkin. Inside the pan is a blackberry pie with a carefully crafted lattice top. A beautiful antique silver pie server is set to the side. Blackberry brambles brimming with fruit and flowers surround the pie. A blue bowl is full of lush berries. Cinnamon spills onto the table. Measuring cups and spoons sit nearby. Knowing what keeps you bound can set you free. You may be feeling trapped by something you love. It feels good, yet you are depleted. This really speaks to my situation. Blackberries are delicious, but the vines strangle everything in their path. Do not become ensnared by the sweet fruit of pleasure while ignoring your true needs. In Sleeping Beauty, Bramble creeps over the land, protecting the people while they slumber. Blackberry can be a safe but destructive hedge. Consider what desires you are indulging. Are they keeping you from seeing the light? Be your own prince and cut them away. Wake up and choose transformation. Crafting with the devil. Go foraging for wild blackberries. Delight in their sweet, delicious taste. Mind the thorns. Place a crown of blackberry vines on your altar to loosen yourself for the pursuit of adoration. Make a blackberry sugar scrub. Invite release as you cleanse your body. And harken back and think about what family blackberry may belong to. It has thorns. And it also has 5 petals when it flowers. So that's a good hint. And I will go over some of that in the wrap-up for the major arcana. So a little story about blackberries. I grew up around farmland and everything, but we also had an old railroad track bed. And when I was young, the railroad bed was active. So in other words, the trains went through when I was a kid. And Mom would always say, look for the blue caboose. Now, sometime along when I was growing up, the trains stopped going on the tracks. And so what took over and grew along the tracks were the blackberry bushes. And they were such a delight as a young teenager to be able to go and, or a tween, I think I was more of a tween, and we would gather the fresh blackberries along the railroad tracks. And then, of course, succession took in, and the trees came along, and it became overgrown. They took up the rails, and then and I haven't seen blackberry bushes for years in this area until I looked at my mother's overgrown garden, because neither one of us are really apt at gardening anymore. Blackberry bushes. I recognized their flowering right away. I said, Mom, that's a blackberry bush. I'm so excited. And now it has some red fruit on it because it turns red first. And there are what they call black raspberries. They're not truly blackberries, what we are talking about here. So I just wanted to, so that's exciting for me to see the blackberries return. So I got to go out and cut down some of the grass around the blackberries and cut down some stuff so they can get some sunshine in there. And they just got a lot of good rain, so that will help. So one of our favorite, as herbalists, herbals is called a modern herbal, although it's not that modern. And you can find it online. It's free online at botanical.com, but you can also find books. A Modern Herbal by Mrs. M. Grieve. And I think it's like 80 or more years old now. It's quite old. I don't have it. But they have a nice section on blackberry. And I gave you a hint of what family it belongs to. It's right there. So it's Rubus fructosus is the general name. And it is brambleberry, bumblecite, and this is in England, but we have the similar thing here in the States. Bramblecite, bly, brambleberry, scaldhead, and brambleberry. Parts used, roots, leaves. Habitat. In Australia, the blackberry grows more luxuriant than in any other part of the world, though it is common everywhere, and this is true. The blackberry or bramble, growing in every English hedgerows, is too well known to need description. Its blossoms, as well as its fruits, both green and ripe, may be seen on the bush at the same time, a somewhat unusual feature, not often met with other plants. And that is true. I can remember seeing that when we used to pick them along the railroad bed. History. The name of the bush is derived from bramble or brimblei, signifying prickly. We read of it as far back as the days of Jonathan, when the unbraided the men a shemet for their ingratitude to his father's house, relating to them the parable of the trees choosing a king. The humble bramble being finally elected after the olive, fig tree, and vine have fused the dignity. The ancient Greeks knew blackberries well and considered them a remedy for gout, which gout is just poor circulation. Opinions differ as to whether there is one true blackberry with many aberrant forms, many distinct types. Professor Babington divides the British ruby into 41 species or more. Whew, that's a lot of species. Rubus ramifolius and Rubus corypholius furnish the blackberries of the hedges, in which the calyx of the fruit also reflects calyx, but the leaves are hoary underneath. This is where you need to know a little botany. coccinus furnishes dewberries, distinguished by the large size of grains, with it covered with bloom, and few in number, the whole being closed clasped by the calyx. Saxatis buckberry and the badge of McNabbs is a herbaceous species found in the mountainous places in the north and distinguished by its ternate leaves and fruit are few red large grains. That's what I've known them as too, is dewberries as well as blackberries. And in fact, I think the ones we picked along the railroad bed we called dewberries. I know that was kind of hard for me to pronounce. I need to learn Latin. Archeminoris, the cloudberry and badge of the McFarlanes, is also herbaceous with an erect stem 6 to 8 inches high, lobed leaves in a single flower which is succeeded by a large orange-red fruit of agreeable flavor. The doubling flowering rubus of garden is a variety of R. fructosus and R. lanceolatus, of which the native country is unknown, and it is a rampant species, deep-cut leaves and large black fruit, which are highly ornamental in autumn. And she goes on to describe, I'm not going to make this too long for you guys, but this is something you might want to look up and read. It's quite funny. It's quite humorous about taking the cows through the brambles for healing. So, medical actions and uses. The bark of the root and the leaves contain much tannin and has long been esteemed as a capital astringent and tonic, providing a value remedy for dysentery and diarrhea. The root is more astringent. So in other words, it's more tightening. Astringent means it tightens up the tissues. It helps with with tightening up the tissues, lessening the fluid. So it helps get rid of excess fluid in the tissues. Preparations. The fruit extract. You can make a salve, syrup, and other things. The fruit contains malic and citric acid, pectin, and albumin. If desiccated in a moderately hot oven and reduced to powder, it is a reliable remedy for dysentery. The root bark, as used medically, should appear in the tough, flexible bands. Strongly astringent and somewhat bitter. A friend of mine brought me some blackberry root last year. She harvested it late fall, early winter. It was delicious. It tasted like blackberry. It was not bitter at all. But then again, I love bitters, so it was not a problem if it was, but it really tasted like blackberry. And you can dry the root. I didn't. I just chopped it up and I made a decoction by boiling it in boiling it in water, or you can they say here you can boil it in milk, and then let it boil down to a pint. Makes a good decoction. Half a teacup should be taken every hour or two for diarrhea for those cups. The leaves are employed for the same purpose. 1 ounce of the dried leaves infused in 1 pint of boiling water, and the infusion taken cold. A teacup full at a time makes a serviceable remedy for dysentery, which is uncontrolled diarrhea. You can make blackberry wine. Blackberry jelly has been used with good effects in cause of dropsy, which is anemia caused by feeble and ineffective circulation, which is gout too. It makes a great cordial. Those are some things you might want to look up and investigate. That cordials are really great medicine and should be made often in the household. That's something you should look up. I recommend it Blackberry vinegar, very easy to make. Can easily be stored. Just throw a bunch of blackberries in apple cider vinegar, and there you go. Gather the berries on a fine day, and yes, I think it makes a difference. A good day, a good sunny, dry day, the best time to pick. And they recommend sugar, and it's really I recommend looking into Grie's Monica. Modern Herbal has a lot of great recipes. It has a lot of the great herbs that we use. But one thing about berries, humans have been eating berries as long as there have been berries. They are very good for us. They are some of our best medicines that are overlooked. I think we have. And they're abundant, and they're abundant in wild areas. And if you leave your lawns alone, you can have wild strawberries in the Northeast. And I'm sure any other places you can find them. In the wild, they are, the better they are. Let me tell you, a natural strawberry that is the size of your thumb tastes 10 times better than a strawberry the size of the apple. And the medicine is 10 times stronger. I can feel that. When I found some strawberries in our field and I ate a couple, it was like heaven. And I felt, oh, this is real medicine. It's so strong and so powerful because it's wild. And when we pick food, whether we grow it ourselves, but it's in our environment that we are in. If you drink milk, yes, don't get on me about milk. Whole raw milk is great for you. If you drink that and it comes from cows in your local area, that is better for you than if it comes from across the country. Berries, the same thing. We have berry picking all over the place in the Northeast, and even down in the South, they have berries too. So anywhere you can pick berries, even if it has to be the cultivated ones, it's still better because it's in your local area. And that's what I encourage you to do, is get out there and get some of your local berries. Even if you have to buy them in a local farm stand. Get out there and get some local food. It's the best thing you can do for yourself, no matter what your health is. Get out there and get some local berries, and I will leave you that today. Many blessings, and remember to be wild and get out in the wild. Check out my website. If you're liking this series, you can make any size donation to my PayPal. Thank you, and many blessings.